my background is networking and computers and electronics, and from a young age I was always really interested in anything that beeped or squeaked or had any sort of a pulse in it, electronic pulse in it. But yeah, just as when I finished my Leaving Cert, actually on the day of my Leaving Cert, when I was picking up my Leaving Cert results, I was more excited about the business that I started than actually getting the results. And on that day, I had a presentation as well. As in any business, there's ups and downs. So yeah, we started as a broadband provider, and I've changed my business model 6-7 times. And oh yeah, for every 100 things I tried and I invested money into, you get a return on one of them. And the key thing is, I suppose, is learn from your mistakes and embrace. For every disadvantage, you can find an advantage. Oh, absolutely! It's second nature to children now. Even I know from my own kid, and I know your own kids as well. Even though I'm a complete nerd and I'm in this all my life, my 3-year-old would buy and sell me already. Yeah, and again, over COVID, we just had to dynamically change. We knew, so where our broadband network was kind of reached its peak and we had saturated that area. My uncle used to be a beekeeper, and my family were into that. And what I noticed over the last few months, with no traffic or anything, just the increase in number of bees and bumblebees and bees that you haven't. Some of the local bees from Ireland and some of the bumblebees, you're seeing a lot more of them now.
Sometimes we've got to dig deep and find our passion, find what works for us. Sometimes it's not all about winning, but certainly it's about that experience. For us, it's all about winning that experience. Today's show is going to be epic. I know you're going to really enjoy this one. Okay, so I'm here today with Always Winning the Experience. I'm your host, Jason Kenny. I'm with Pearse Carroll. Pearse is now the managing director of AARA. He started his own business originally in 2000, just after his Leaving Cert, as PCCS, which stands for Pearse Carroll Computer Services, something to that effect.
That's it, yeah.
Perfect.
That's it.
And then went on in 2004 to be Director of Network Operations with AARA. So nice little transitions there, you can see, and I'm really looking forward to this interview today. And Pearse has some interesting stories and how this is all unfolded. But Pearse, how are you?
Excellent, Jason. Thank you very much for having me on your podcast. Watched some of the last few ones. They're very good. So yeah, I'm very excited to be on here.
Good. So you might just tell us a small bit. I suppose I gave a little brief overview, very fast. I suppose, how did you kind of get into computers and networking and all that kind of thing?
Yeah, so I suppose I started off. I'll go all the way to the beginning of my background is networking and computers and electronics, and from a young age I was always really interested in anything that beeped or squeaked or had any sort of a pulse in it, electronic pulse in it. So yeah, as a child I was dangerous. Anything that was in my path was pretty much fair game to be taken apart and to be figured out. But yeah, just as when I finished my Leaving Cert, actually on the day of my Leaving Cert, when I was picking up my Leaving Cert results, I was more excited about the business that I had started than actually getting the results. And on that day, I had a presentation as well. I picked up my Leaving Cert results. I went to Flannan's in Ennis for the last 2 years. I did the first 4 years in Killaloo, St. Anne's Community College in Killaloo, and then I did 2 more years in Flannan's in Ennis. I boarded there for 2 years. Good fun as well. big college and really, really good teachers there. But I had the advantage of Ennis were after winning a competition that was way back. It was called the Information Age Town. So a lot of families and schools and businesses, they got a free internet connection. It was ISDN at the time, and I think it was Gateway Computer or Dell Computer or something like that.
Yes,
but
yeah.
we've got computers, but there was a computer lab set up in Ennis, and I found about this. So I suppose I got to do 3 years for my leaving cert, but did a lot of work in there on the computer lab. When I was boarded, we used to go down and we had access to the IT facilities. Yeah. So in our spare time, we'd build up things. But finishing the leaving cert on the day, I was that's when I started my business, really, because just as summer work and that, I'd be fixing computers for people. Worked in PCCS, fixing computers and giving business support, IT support mainly. And then in 2004, I started with some other guys. What's now is AARA Communications. We started as a rural broadband. I had no broadband, and we had to build our own wireless links across the mountains down into the little valley to where Ballina and Killaloe is from the neighbouring cities, and connect on to where the local fibre was. And then we started providing as a local internet provider. It just kind of grew from there.
Yeah, wow.
So it was interesting experience.
Yeah, it's and you know what? Nowadays, it's probably the norm. Most kids are so computer able. It's incredible with the technology, the iPhones, and just Android phones, tablets. I mean, you've the smart TVs. I suppose back in 2000, it was only kind of starting to develop on all of that.
Oh, absolutely. It's second nature to children now. I know from my own kid, and I know your own kids as well. Even though I'm a complete nerd and I'm in this all my life, my 3-year-old would buy and sell me already, and probably your kids as well. It's just instinctive in them to just swipe, and they know what to press.
And tell me,
technology's made so easy now.
Did you encounter any hurdles when you kind of started up? Did you find? I mean, obviously, getting into business it sounded like you made it really easy there. It sounds really easy to someone, but I'm sure there was a few.
How long do we have? So University of Life coming out here. Look, as in any business, there's ups and downs. So we started as a broadband provider, and I've changed my business model 6-7 times since then. So in 16 years ago, we started as broadband, and now I'm still doing broadband and wireless broadband, but we're also doing CCTV, alarm systems, network consultancy, IT. So I've had to, as things change, I had to dynamically change the business and keep myself skilled up. And even, I mean, that would be the same in a lot of businesses, unless you're in a kind of a retail or something like that it's the same thing you're changing. But even at that, stock and things change. So, and we got into retail then as well. So we have 3 retail stores, one in Killaloe, one in Scariff, one in Portumna. So it was just really the challenge was being able to diversify. And for every 100 things I tried, and I invested money into, you get a return on one of them. But the key thing is, I suppose, is learn from your mistakes and embrace. For every disadvantage, you can find an advantage. That's what I always found. So every place where I failed, I now said, well, I failed, but now I know how that works, and I know how intricate it is, and I know how hard it is. So I knew what was involved. So everywhere I failed, I suppose, was a learning curve to excel me in other areas.
Yeah, and I suppose that's
like that.
Yeah, that's the truth of life, really, isn't it? I mean, that's where the learning really is. I mean, a lot of people just see the success. They see the trophies at the end, they see the awards at the end, they see the bank accounts, they see whatever, but they don't see the hardship and all the failures. And I think I think that's where the real learning comes from, and that experience is so it's invaluable, really. I mean, there's no way you can teach that. You've got to kind of almost go through it and experience it, and there's a certain emotion attached to that. And I see it in my own businesses as well, and the different things I've tried over the years. And we have a tendency to write stuff off too, but there's a lot of life learning in that. And although we don't realize it, there's an awful lot of alignment in how we align things up and the path we take. And sometimes we try to discard things, but actually, in fact, it's stuff we can pull out of it. But during COVID, obviously now, I mean, it must have been mad busy for you guys, because obviously with Zoom, like I only use Zoom because of the business world and the area I'm in. But like my kids are talking Zoom.
Oh yeah,
Zoomers on radio. It's like, what? This was my thing.
Yeah,
what do you know about Zoom?
Yeah, and again, over COVID, we just had to dynamically change. We knew, so where our broadband network was kind of reached its peak, and we had saturated that area fairly well. And the last 5-6 years, I've been concentrating in different areas, and we've been working in renewable energy, and we've been working in a few different things, and security and that. Over COVID, I suppose that's where having a few legs or being able to diversify. So everyone now was using the internet. So we were very, very busy over the COVID. Now, some of our engineers, we had some engineers that was dedicated. They would call out to respond to masts, or if there was breakdowns. People now just wanted home offices, and they just wanted to quadruple the speed of their internet. And our network, where the average graph would be 1,000 per day, at the highest peak, it was now constantly at 5,000 per day, and that was just it, and it might spike up to 8,000 and stuff like that. So it was mad kind of stuff, but it was really challenging for the guys. We'd kit out the vans, when they get out of the vans, they had to put on a full biohazard suit, pretty much. Then we had to set the appointments that the people weren't in the house, or that we weren't going into the houses, and we'd be able to do some work from outside or things like that. And then when we were finished, to properly dispose of all the gowns and that before, and then desanitize the vans, and we just had to slow down things and just think clever, But I do see the advantage we got out of it. Again, major disadvantages coming from the COVID, but the one advantage we got is that before this we used Zoom, and we used a lot of conferencing and technology, but now we had no choice but to rely on this, and a lot of the people were working from at home, and we've got 20 people working in AARA now, between all the retail stores and the other side of the business. And now everyone had to work from home, so it kind of increased our skills, as in being able to work remotely a lot more. And we're looking at seeing if we could do people work from home a little bit more.
Yeah.
As we continue on, or even a 4-day week or something like that. Morale is a big thing,
Yeah, no, I get that. And I think it's amazing that people can. And I was just listening to a guy talking there this morning. I just caught it briefly on the news, and I was sorry I didn't catch his name afterwards. But you know what? I mean, the positive side of it is people's mental health in their space has improved quite a lot. Also, the fact that we're reducing the carbon footprint. I mean, and there's less traffic on the road, so there's less stress build up. So in terms of a win-win, it really is for everyone, But
even for, I suppose, getting away from nerd, my uncle used to be a beekeeper, and my family were into that. And what I noticed over the last few months, with no traffic or anything, just the increase in number in bees and bumblebees, and bees that you haven't, some of the local bees from Ireland, and some of the bumblebees, you're seeing a lot more of them now. And just even little birds and that along by the ditch that is.
Yeah.
There was definitely, and fish in streams when we went for walks to that. The amount of fish in the streams and rivers, unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know, so I suppose it gave nature a small bit of a break from.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and of course you guys are out the whole time between masts, and so you're going to be out climbing mountains and up posts and all sorts of areas, probably up trees and areas you probably shouldn't be at the best of times.
Luckily at this time of year, not so much. It's more coming into winter when the storms are there, or you get snow or something like that. But we try to stay away from the masts in lightning season if we can at all possible. Yeah, and you probably saw it as well. The lightning around here lately was.
Yeah, it's been crazy. Yeah, it's been crazy. Yeah. Can I ask you how do you manage to kind of stay upskilled or kind of stay ahead of the, I suppose, the up and coming things? You know, to try and obviously it's moving so quickly. The world from AI to
augmented reality,
everything is changing.
Everything, cryptocurrencies, and it moves so quickly. Yeah. Even as an internet service provider, we started off providing 0.5 meg, and now we're at nothing really going into somebody's house if we can't provide a gigabit or more. And we've had to look at all of those options, and things can change within 3-6 months. If you install Wi-Fi for someone, or an industrial Wi-Fi or big stadium Wi-Fi or something like that, within 2 years you've got to replace it again because everyone's phone has changed and it's better technology. So you need to keep going to time. And I suppose keeping skilled up is the hard thing. You can go to a lot of trade shows and all that, but again, you're only really meeting the salespeople, and they're going to tell you what you want to hear to sell.
Yeah.
I suppose, getting to see some of the things on the trade show is a big plus. You can look at them and you can touch it, you can feel it, and you can see what the product is like. Technology news, is pretty good. There's a lot of technology shows out there, and even YouTube shows that are up to date with reviews. I've watched a good few reviews on hardware or upcoming protocols, or say before the Wi-Fi 6 and all that comes out, there would be communities and that would be playing it and getting involved in beta testing and getting involved in all the testing. Before,
what do you think of the 5G?
Yeah, the 5G is really going to change things. Technically, it's a big project. It is using a huge amount of the spectrum. I think it uses multiple technologies. But again, it's where it's going. It's what the public are demanding now. People want a gigabit speed in the most rural location, because really that's where people are. They're out exercising, they're out enjoying themselves, and like you've seen yourself, you might be on top of a mountain, or we might be out somewhere training, and you come across some beautiful scenery in that, and it's lovely to be able to take a picture and send that to someone. But now pictures now are so high definition, and there's 40 megapixels in phones now. Phones now are as good as some of the professional cameras now. So a lot of data. I suppose that's where it's going. And 5G is only the start. There's going to be 6G, 7G,
really?
20G.
Wow.
Yeah. That's only going to last a few years, and more and more and more and more. So you just keep going with it.
Yeah. And can I ask you, in terms of, I suppose, obviously you needed a bit of space yourself and downtime in terms of, I suppose, just creating that mental health and keeping yourself physically kind of active and stuff. And I know you like to get out and do walks and things like that. I haven't spoken to you in the past, and hiking is your thing and stuff. But obviously with the whole managing a staff, there was obviously a lot of logistics in terms of that, and then managing family, and then trying to, just look after yourself as well. Do you find it hard to fit that all in, or is there kind of a space you can kind of go to in your own, your own way?
It's something you do learn over time. And if you don't figure it out, you will crack. But finding time for your own personal space, winding down, I have realized it is important. 10 years ago, I was never in hospital. I went into hospital once and thought my heart was going to come out of my chest, and it was pretty much down to stress.
Wow.
And if somebody asked me what was the cause of that stress, if I was stressed, I said stress. Overwork.
Okay.
Just, I suppose I was in my very early 30s.
Okay.
Late 20s, I suppose. But I was working 18 hours a day, getting 4 or 5, 6 hours sleep, getting up, just surviving on coffee, and tea was my big thing. And I suppose you can get burned out as well by you can work hard and play hard, but sometimes that can wear you out as well. I was involved in a lot of other activities when I realized that it's stress and I needed to wind down. I did a silly thing of just going mad with exercising way too much and just getting out and doing way too many things. So my body wasn't getting time to wind down, to recuperate, to repair, and even my brain. It's nice to get out for a walk or a run or go out fishing and let your mind ramble, but you also need time to sleep as well. Sleep is very important, I think, now, and I'm only starting to really start to appreciate that. But yeah, getting out, I think is the key.
Yeah. So for what would you do for yourself? I mean, we all have it. I know I have it. I might sit down and I'll have a sofa Sunday, or I might just have a kind of complete day where I refuse to do anything. And it's not because I can't and I don't want to, but I do it as if it was a training exercise.
Yeah.
Sit down, stay, just relax. But I find that it has worked an awful lot. I just find something that's kind of complete brain numbing. For everyone else, their idea is to get out and go for a walk, but I'm active continually. I'm exercising continually. So for me, I need to sit down and maybe watch something on Netflix that's just completely not real world, but it works, and it's great because it can disengage you for a while. Do you find that you have something that you can tap into?
I do like when I want to wind down, when I want to really wind down, I do like outdoors, anything outdoors. So I do like nature and that sort of thing. So I do like bushcraft. I love outdoor camping. And I love and I noticed over the last few years, I haven't appreciated my own locality. There's places around my own locality that I never knew about that are just absolute scenic beauty. And to go off with the dogs, and some of my friends come as well. But yeah, we go off with the hammocks and we go camping some nights, or we go and we take the boat and we go fishing for a day and pull up on one of the islands and maybe camp there for the night. And it's just nice when dark falls. You don't have a phone or anything. Well, you'll have your GPS, I suppose, and the radio just for in case anything happened. But it's just nice to be able to zone out. You sometimes that was the hardest part over COVID, was you were working at home, so there was no demarc between when work finished and downtime, because you were at home, you were locked up. Now I can't complain. I live in the country, and I've a small bit of land out the back, so I was able to go out and walk around and social distance and stay away from everyone. And I'd be able to walk out the fields behind me. So I got out as often as I could, but I would say for some people it would have been very, very hard to work and then stop work and then to go and watch Netflix or try and get some exercise or try and do something to wind down. That must have been very, very tough on some people. But luckily, yeah, I can't complain. You know,
Yeah,
so,
I hear you. Yeah, no,
and I just found the positives that I was getting, you know.
Yeah, that's good, and I think we all got a chance to pause as well for a little bit. If someone was starting off like yourself now, what advice would you give them to start off? And we'll say a career similar to your own, be it in computers, any kind of basic computer activities, from engineering to networking. What kind of advice would you give them?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it's relevant to all the other questions you asked me. I suppose would be some of the answer in that, but you do need to have a good interest in it, and because you have to stay with the times, you have to stay with technology, and it's great going off on courses and getting courses done here, there, and everywhere, but you do have to have a personal interest in it as well. I suppose one of the key things is embrace your failures. Embrace when something goes wrong. Look at it, debrief, stop, debrief, compose yourself again, and pick out all the points that that you thought were good, and pick out the points that you realized that you weren't good at. And you know, eventually you can start painting a picture. I mean, for me, every 100 things I went at, maybe one thing might turn back a success rate. So we started off 16 years ago with just me and another guy, and now we've gone to 20 staff.
Yeah.
So it's training all those people as well, and trying to keep your head. But downtime as well is the big thing. When you start off first, you have to give it your all. You have to give it 3 years, and you just have to go hell for leather. But I suppose you need to be in a mental good place. And usually when people are starting off, they have that energy that's there to really go and accomplish anything. I suppose harness that power and don't burn out the fuel tank. It's like you would say, I've often heard you say sometimes, like if you were in or if you were trading somebody, or if they were in martial arts or MMA or something like that, know your opponent, or don't burn out your gas tank. Know what you can do. I suppose it would be the same thing if you're on a real high and things are going right for you. Yeah, well, take the time and regroup. And a lot of people would stick their heads in the sand, when something doesn't work right, or if you're after spending 2 weeks on a tender and you don't get it. And it is soul destroying sometimes, but it's good to look back on it and find out, well, where did I go wrong? What went wrong here? What did I do well? And right, the next one that comes out, well, I won't do that again. And you've got 60, 70, 80% of it done. You just need to tweak those things. So burying your head in the sand would be a big thing, I'd say, is a no-no. Embrace everything you fail at, embrace it and analyze it, and see what you can improve. It's very hard to find your own flaws, I suppose. So
yeah,
business coaching is very good.
Yeah,
business coaching.
Yeah,
You need a business coach now and then. Yeah.
So I suppose obviously ask for help as well is probably a key thing. Not to be afraid to put your hand up and go, look, I don't actually know everything.
Exactly. And treat your staff well. If your staff are the key part of your business. They hold everything together. If you're a dominant director and in your brain everything is right and it's your way, you do need to respect those who work with you, because it's those people who got you where you are, and it's those people who have pretty much carried out your vision or your dream and helped complete the work. So yeah, that is a big thing. Good morale in your office is absolutely key.
So a bit of emotional intelligence, I suppose, really.
Yeah, I mean, you need a lot of IQ. Hard to balance that. If you can get 50-50 in that, you're Superman.
Yeah, I hear you.
Superwoman, super person.
Whichever works. Yeah, and I suppose if you were to pick 3 people who were an influence in your life, now it could be 10 people, or it could be one person, but if you were to pick 3.
Oh yeah, look, all my family. I'm so close to my family. My 2 sisters are fantastic help. My elder sister Olga now works for me. I worked for her back in the day when she was in A plant, and she managed a plant hire company. So I was, as a summer job, up to my leaving cert, I used to work with Olga, and I used to look after the yard and clean the diggers and get the diggers and dumpers and pumps and compressors and all that sort of stuff ready for hire. So I loved all that sort of stuff. And then 2007, I think, after being in business a good few years, I was able to offer the person who I knew was the best for this role in the world. I was able to offer my sister Olga the job as operations manager, and she's operations director now. And my other sister Ruth is highly intelligent as well, and fantastic advice always gives me. My father is so skilled. He's a toolmaker, fitter by trade. So I was very lucky when I grew up. I'd access to a garage, and everything from electrician to plumbing to, I got a lot of life skills.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot. So he taught me how to hunt and fish, and you name it, I was able to do it. I was driving a tractor before I was, I think, in 3rd or 4th class in national school. And
sounds like a high-tech Bear Grylls, really, isn't it?
Yeah, so I did a great freedom, and then from my mother's side, all my uncles and aunts are so intelligent, and have really accomplished a lot in their own lives, and same for my father's family. So I have had great help from my uncles and aunts and my family, mainly my mother and father, and last but not least, definitely my wife Mairead. She's been, we've been together since we were 16, and she started the business with me, and she knows every aspect of the business as well. So it's great. I can hop things off of her as well. So she's put up with a lot, especially when somebody works on themselves. You've got to work all hours. And when I started the broadband company, there was, I think, the first 8 years when I started the broadband company, there was, every Christmas Day for 8 years, I was called away from the Christmas dinner, and I'd have to go climb a mast somewhere and knock snow off of an antenna. Or, people would expect their internet on Christmas Day. So I suppose that's how we excelled as a community group. We got out there in those days when the big players that say, so what, you're going to be down for 2 weeks or whenever we can get to you. So we would get out to that. So my family and the people around me, I suppose.
Fantastic.
I'd be a big fan of Stephen Hawking and Brian Cox and people like that as well. I'd be very interested in that, and Eric P. Dollard as well. Any of the Tesla stuff.
Yeah.
So they'd be a lot of the things people I look up to.
Have you looked at the Elon Musk interviews as of late?
Yeah.
Around AI.
Yeah.
Have you seen some of those?
Yeah. It's mad stuff. I have been keeping up with AI the whole time and all that, and it's there. It can do things. It can do what you want it to do now. It's
pretty scary, the amalgamation of it solves the marriage between AI now and human, and he talked about it. The Joe Rogan podcast, fascinating interview. I think
fascinating. I saw that one.
Yeah, I think if anyone wants to watch it, I'd say from about 16 minutes onwards is when it gets really into it.
Yeah. When they figure out how to put the AI into wearables. Now that's like the Fitbits and all that sort of thing. When AI is sitting inside in that, and you've got all sorts of augmented reality, or you'll have your chip in the brain and USB port on your wrist and all this sort of thing. But
it's coming, I'd say.
But it's coming. But I said, well, look, like him as well, and even yourself. Everyone I meet, I would be an inquisitive person, and even from yourself, I've learned so much from even being in the Coast Guard together and learning so much in the boat. I suppose even your own life experiences, your experiences as a business coach, as a life coach, as fitness. I mean, you've shown me so much, and I'm very much a kind of person. Give me a fish, and you fed me for the day. Teach me how to fish, and now I'm sorted for life. So
I hear you.
To me, information, knowledge. Even one of the biggest challenges is in work, is finding out what genius things your staff are good at, what things everyone is good at, and then honing in on that. And I suppose I love to talk to people, and I love to find out about what they do, no matter what it is, whether it's nature or... I'm a very inquisitive person, so information, I love information. So I'm constantly learning, and I do... If somebody has the time to sit down and give me some advice on something, I look up to that person.
I appreciate it. I hear you loud and clear. I was going to ask you for as a finish, just as we're coming towards the end. But I was going to ask you if you had a superpower, what would it be? I actually think I can name your superpower. It would be obviously all the knowledge in the world. But I'll let you decide. Yeah.
Dr. Manhattan or something like that, and being able to travel to different universes and all this would be the big thing. But I suppose answer the one that's on everyone's mind and that everyone really wants, I suppose, would be find a way for everyone on this planet to get together and just realize that everyone is human. No matter if I had a superpower, it would be some way to bring everyone together. That we're all the same. We're human, and we're all part of Earth. So respect what we have. Respect nature. Respect others around you. But there is no difference between me and a Chinese person or a Russian person or an English or French or German, or no matter what race or where they're from. I've got so many friends, and I've learned so much from everyone that's willing to teach me. So to me, I find it racism or anything like that, I just find it hard to comprehend. It's just beyond me. But I suppose if we could find a way to stop the silly squabbling, and so much more out there in the universe. Like we don't know anything yet. We're such a young race. But I suppose
I think you've just created a new DC character.
Get us off this planet and get us out there. But if I was being selfish and a superpower for myself, I'd be Superman or Dr. Manhattan or something like that. Imagine being able to fly. Oh, that would be brilliant. Go wherever you want to.
We'll never stop you then. You'd be flying everywhere just to talk to someone about something new that's coming up. I love it.
Oh, stop. Yeah, I know.
If people want to get in contact with you, Pearse, is there some way they can talk to you? Maybe if they needed a little bit of advice, especially any young people might be listening in and they want to kick the same road.
They can. Our website is under construction at the moment, but AARA.ie is our website. AARA.ie is our website, and you'll be able to contact me there. So I have Pearse.Carroll, PEARSE .CARROLL at AARA.ie. You get me on LinkedIn and that, but AARA.ie, the website, AARA.ie, is the main place where you'll see me.
Awesome.
Or out and about, Killaloo, doing something you'll always...
meandering in your back garden.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Listen, Pearse, it's been an absolute pleasure. I always love our chats. We always have some mad in-depth chats and talking technology, and I could talk it all day long. And
we definitely should do it again, we'll talk a little bit more about technology there. I probably went off a little bit topic on you there.
No. I think it's super. Yeah. We might do technology in depth the next one. But listen, it's been a pleasure having you on. I really appreciate you and your time, obviously. And listen, everyone's going to love it. I know they will. Thanks a million, Pearse.